Polynomial regression is applied to real-time project to capture complex trends like house price predictions and sales growth and temperature variations. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to understand a real-time project on polynomial regression and its applications. So without delay, let us start. Let us understand how our polynomial regression works by a real-time example. And here I have taken insurance data set where like we are defining or we are understanding the pattern on how insurance cost is getting fixed for a person. So these are, what is the first step, guys? These are your libraries, and we are importing the libraries, and we understood from our previous videos for polynomial concepts that we have to get polynomial features as a part of it by using pre-processing module of sklearn. And these are your basic, right? We have to define every time numpy, pandas, because these are your base models or modules. Matplotlib, then seaborn, then we have we can get our trend test because we ultimately we have to perform linear regression here, right? And linear model, then sklearn, where we are importing our metrics. So we have given input or taken our libraries. Then after that, we have to import our data set, right? Or we have to import our insurance data set, so which I did it. Now let us understand the head of it. So when we're talking about head, what it is going to do, it is going to show all the complete tabular format of data. And we have age, right? Age is a defined factor or independent variable. BMI is an independent variable. Smoker, whether the person is having a smoking history or not, it is going to check that. Number of children, that particular person to whom we are defining insurance cost, how many children that person is having, gender, region, and finally the insurance cost. And here insurance cost is your target variable or dependent variable, because all these factors are defining to get the insurance cost, right? So these are your independent, this is a dependent. Now we will understand the shape of it. So this is one way to get shape, right? Data.shape, and this is another way to get shape. We are just simply getting the index of it, right? I mean, this is your tuple, and with shape.0, that means it is this index, right? 1000 should be your index, and which is defining your rows, and 7 is your index, which is 1 is your index, which will define the column, and the value is 7. That means we knew that, okay, this data set is having 1000 rows and 7 columns. Then we have data.info. And like I have already explained you that why we are performing this, because we want to know whether we have null values or present or not, how many numerical values, how many categorical values, all these things we can get to know from here. And all I can see that this data set does not contain any null values. We are good here. And this dataset contains int, float, and object type. And object type we have 3. That means we have 3 categorical values and 4 numerical values or numerical columns. Then we can go ahead with the descriptive statistics, right? And in the descriptive statistics, what exactly it is happening? It will give all the numerical value or the numerical columns data points like count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, and 25th percentage like Q1, Q2, Q3, all these values it will give, which will help you to understand the trend of the data, right? Then we can go ahead and understand the null values present in a different method. So this is another way, right, where we have isNull method, and we can understand that whether this has any null values or not by like what it will do. If it is having any null values, it will just like when you're doing isNull, it is giving that 0 or 1. Like wherever null n is there, it is going to assign 0 in that place, and wherever values are there, it is going to convert that to 1, and like that it is going to give a sum at the end. Then what is the next step? We can segregate our numerical and categorical. The same thing I did here. And all I can see that in categorical we have smoker, gender, and region, and all I know that Smoker is having 2 classes, gender is having 2 classes. Smoker either yes or no, gender either male or female. However, region we don't know, right? Region can be more than 2. So for that, what I did, I want to understand how many unique values are present. So I can see that I have 4 unique values present in this. And to know the length, you can just do like this. Length of your, so it is saying 4. The same thing we can get by using length. Now, what I thought, okay, before moving ahead on or applying my encoding techniques, I can understand the collinearity, right? And what we understood from your previous polynomial concepts that when you are talking about polynomial, each and every values or each and every variable should be independent of each other. Independent variables should be independent of each other. They should not be much dependent on each other. And let us see whether we are getting the same trend here or not. So this is what our this is how we are getting your correlation, right? SNS.heat map, and we are taking on numerical columns here by taking all select D types, and we are including int and float there, and we are defining core, right? Numerical columns.core. So it is going to create a, or it is going to understand by correlation matrix by creating this kind of map. And here we are seeing we have age, BMI, number of children, and insurance cost. And from this image or from this mapping, what we are observing that none of the features have a better correlation among each other. However, number of children is having a very less correlation with insurance cost, but however, we can consider that it has a little bit of correlation present with insurance cost. However, all these are flat. There is no correlation between your insurance and other like age, BMI, and everything. Now we understood the trend, and we will go ahead and convert our columns to your encoding method. And how we are performing encoding, we can import ordinal encoder from sklearn.preprocessing. This is again coming inside preprocessing module, and what we are doing in these cases, we have to get an object of it, and we are fitting and transforming at the same time. And when we are doing fit and transform, in the next line, what we are seeing that, okay, in my data.head now is not containing, I have to run this, which I have not done that. Let me run this. Now I will do this. Now I can see that instead of my categorical variables, I am all getting numerical variables, right? Gender and region. So the same data, whatever we have now, the final data, I have created my pair plot. And in my pair plot, what exactly is happening, guys? It is going to show me a combination of histogram and your scatter plot. So the diagonal point is going to be your whole histograms, and the adjacent or the adjacent features are going to be your relation among each other. So you can see this is your quantifying method of age. This is our histogram for age. This is your histogram for BMI, and this is your final histogram for smoker. This is for number of children, and this is for gender, and this is for region and insurance cost. However, these are your relation. Insurance cost with region, then gender, then number of children, like that. So this is how we can understand the trend of the data. And on we can see that there is a lot of scatterness in case of BMI and age with insurance cost, and we will see how it's getting or how it's coming up. And what is the next step, guys? Now we have to understand the trend of the data or by using the regression plot or reg plot. So I have taken my reg plot, and when I'm taking my reg plot, I have seen that my number of children is at 0.14 with insurance cost, which is a bit high as compared to the correlation. So I am drawing my curve here, and I can see it is a little bit of linearity present, because you can see this line is not straight line. It has little bit of bend towards up, and this is your linear, like simple linear equation is present here. Now we will see the next one. This is your BMI with insurance cost, and we will see that here the line is coming a bit curved. We can see the trend, right? Let me get to the whiteboard. So what we saw there in this case of BMI, you can see the effect. The line is showing like this, but the effect is showing like this, right? Which means it's a polynomial, right? Polynomial. Then this is our BMI with cost. Now we will see the next one, which is your insurance cost versus age. Now let's see this. Here also it is. You can see it's a bit. It's coming downward actually. It's not straight. So in case of age, cost. In case of age and cost, it's coming like this. What does it mean? It's negatively linear, or it's not related to this cost directly. That means what exactly we are understanding from this, that if the age is more, that means the insurance cost should be more. It should not be less, it should be more. And the same thing we are seeing here. Sorry, I have, it should be the opposite. This should be cost and this should be age. And if more number of, like, if the person's age is increasing, that means if a person's age is increasing, the cost should be more for that person, or the person should be insured more, right? And that is the general case, right? When they're considering insurance, if you're going ahead for a health insurance or for a life insurance, if the person is more than 30, there is a one range of cost. Then the person is more than 50, then one range of cost is there, and that's defined by companies' policies, right? And now we understood all the trends, and we saw that none of the trends are matching with each other, and we can understand, or we can study further on how we can achieve our polynomial goal here. So for that, what we can do, what is the next step? Now we saw this is your final data. Let me just go back to the data point, and this is a final data set where we can see these are the values, and I am not seeing much differences between the values, and all are with 1 or 2 digits only. So I thought that without going ahead for standardization or scaling technique, I can directly give my input. And for that, what is the next step? I have to get my independent features and my dependent feature. And this is an independent feature. In independent feature, we have to draw our dependent feature. Otherwise, the model is going to overlearn and it is going to overfit. And this is your dependent feature, right? Insurance cost. Now, if I'll get the head of it, just to verify, let me run this. For that, if I'll get the head of it, I can see that it does not have insurance cost, and this is your head of your Y. Now, what is the next step? We understood from the concept that we have to pre-process the data. And why we are pre-processing the data? To get the polynomial factors. And for that, we have taken, right? We have taken polynomial converter. This is a variable name, it's nothing. And we are taking polynomial features. And here we have to define our degree. Here I have defined my degree as 2, because I can see that it's not so complex data, however, it has some complexity. It's not too complex. So I can take degree 2, and there is one factor called include bias. And what is include bias? I have given a definition for that. So when you're talking about include bias, so this setting, what it will do, it will generate a bias column internally, which is a column of the ones where the features of all polynomial powers are 0, and it will act as an intercept in terms of linear model, that bias column. And when we're talking about bias equal to false, this is bias equal to true. And when we're talking about bias equal to false, it will not generate any bias columns, and this is often done when the estimator implicitly adds an intercept by default. So this is what a bias concept or include bias. If you'll not use this also, that is fine. But however, I wanted to learn on these factors, what exactly is coming in which step. And now we will get our polynomial feature. And how you will get it? We will get by fit and transform. Instead of doing this, you can just use fit underscore transform as well. But however, I want to show all the steps. You can take fit in 1, then after that you can take transform. And what we are doing, whatever x or the whatever independent variables you have, you can just pass it here. Then just pass it here. So let me run this. Then after that I can get my polynomial features. Now if you see the polynomial features dot shape, you can see that it has applied those degrees, degree 2, and finally it is creating a different kind of column. So you can see the rows are same. The rows are same, but however the columns are different. 27 columns it has created. 27 columns it has created, and you will see the shape of x or the dependent variables. It is simple. It is 6. That means what it is doing, it is taking the all the feature, all the columns, whatever the what I can say, it is just adding up the squares, or it is just squaring it up, like whatever the degrees which we studied. Let me go to the whiteboard. We have what we studied to predict y hat. We have beta 0 plus beta 1 x plus beta 2 x square plus error or bias. Here in case of bias. So what it is doing, it is considering these, or it is calculating these values like x square, and it is adding up here. So finally you are getting 1027. Now what is the next step? It's simple. We got our polynomial feature. Now we will go ahead and we will apply that polynomial feature in our regression model. And what is the step for that? We have to get train test split, and for that I have taken x train, x test, y train and y test. So train test split I have taken, and I am just applying my features here, right? These are the features. You can apply polynomial features. Instead of x, I am using polynomial features. Then we have y. Then test size. Test size, when I am taking 0.2, that means what should be a train size? It should be 0.8. That means 80% of data, or 80% of my complete data should be a train size. 20% of my data should be a test size or after testing. Then we have random state. This random state you can change. Let me change it to something else. Let me change it to 100 and see what exactly is happening. It is just a seeding factor, guys. When I'm talking about random state, it is just going to seed the data and it is not going to change. Like first time, whatever the data it is going to take, the second time it is going to take the same amount of data as a consideration, and it is going to perform the regression. Then we can consider we can get our object of linear regression, and we will train our model. Let me run this. So now I have trained my model by x train and y train, by taking the training data. Now I'm predicting my data, right? I have predicted my data, and here is a comparison I have got when I'm taking my test data, my predicted data, and the differences between them. What I'm getting? Okay, if I'll take the complete data, it's going to be coming huge. 200 columns it came. Okay. because out of 1000, what is your test data? It's 200, right? So the same 200 columns it is showing. And what except you were seeing, let us understand that. Here I am seeing Y test. That means this is my test data, or this is the test insurance cost. This is my predicted insurance cost. This is my predicted insurance cost. And residuals means the difference between this and this, right? Y actual minus Y predicted, and we can see that trend, right? And now we can get the accuracy of that model which we have got, or my polynomial model. What is the accuracy I got? This is my accuracy which I got. 98% is my accuracy. And now we will understand the different metrics we can get, and we will see how it is coming. So we are getting mean absolute error as 407. That means this is your insurance cost. Then or the total addition of all errors with mean absolute error. Then mean square errors, the number is huge because we are adding up by squaring those errors. Then RMSE is your root over of that MSE. Then we will compare our linear or simple linear equation or simple linear regression, right? For that, what I have like here I have got my polynomial, right? And polynomial we saw. Now we will use this simple linear regression concept and we will see how it comes. And what we saw, like we have seen the metrics for polynomial regression, and here the metrics for simple linear regression. This is a comparison, like we have MAE 407. However, in case of normal regression or simple regression, we are getting 391. So there is a difference between them, and but the difference is not huge. Now we will adjust our parameters and we will see how it comes. Now I have taken one parameter. Okay, one parameter I am taking RMSE, and I am trying to perform different kind of actions on that. And what I am doing here, let me explain you that. I am taking my RMSE list, like I want to perform root mean square error for the same data set because I want to understand my model parameter and I want to adjust the factors which it is coming up. So I have taken my train RMSE list, my test RMSE list, and I am defining, or I am just getting my polynomial features, and I am just telling that if my polynomial feature should be 1 to 10, like it will iterate over, guys. Okay, it will iterate over, and I am just telling that this feature should fit with X, then transform with X. Then I am creating my train test split with poly features. Then after that, same thing I am doing, but however, I am getting my RMSE point here or RMSE here. Now, if I'll get train RMSE list, this is the train RMSE list, and this is the test RMSE list. And if I'll draw my train and test, this is the trend I'll get. This is the trend I'll get. So here this is your polynomial degree. So my degree is coming till 10. However, I have taken my degrees from 1 to 10. You can see the range I have taken from 1 to 10. That means it is going to take till 9. I can see the trend that the more degree if I'll take, the less, or the what I can say, the RMSE. This is your train RMSE, right? You can see. So this train RMSE value is decreasing. The RMSE value is decreasing. It will take higher number of degree of freedom. Also, not degree of freedom or degree of polynomial. My bad. So in case of test data, test RMSE data, what exactly is happening? If we take more number of degree of freedom, the value is increasing. The value is increasing. So this is a trend which we are getting when we are going ahead with the polynomial regression concept. So it is like this is one factor or one matrix which we are analyzing. The same thing you can do for all the other metrics, and you can see the trend by yourself, right? and I will share all the sports, guys, just for your practice. Okay. Yeah, so we have completed our understanding on polynomial practical example or real time example. We will go ahead with the further topics in our next videos. Thank you. Well, that is all for now. We will cover further topics in our upcoming videos. Till that time, see you. Please start subscribing, like, share your comments, share your feedback, share this channel link to all your friends and near ones. It helps a lot to improvise myself and give you better content day by day. And see you till the next time. Thank you.